much of what we need to do through this recruiting process is to educate, right, and to present who we are. So those things and the tools of social media, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, what have you, and then when we get the opportunity to get these families to our campus, again, to showcase the unique story that we have to tell, the unique offering that only we can give, we're going to utilize all the tools at our disposals to be able to do that. Welcome, Aztec Nation. This is the Sons of Montezuma podcast, and I am your host, Mateo. You can find me at Mateo San Diego on Twitter. And man, I am joined with these two knuckleheads to my left and right. They are living their best life today because this is what they live for. So, anyways, before we get into our introductions, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. We appreciate you guys joining the chat, and of course, make sure you are spreading the word about the Sons of Montezuma. James, K5 James, how are you doing today, man? It's another lovely day in San Diego as the rain comes down and starts pouring on us. How are you doing, man?
Good, man. Good thing the recruiting trips weren't this weekend, right? It's going to be all rainy and stuff. No, dude, this is like one of my favorite days of the year, other than, when the season's actually going on. Like, I'm supposed to be sleeping during the day because I work at night. But I was waking up like every hour or so, like waking up, checking my phone, seeing who sent their NLI in and everything. So, yeah, man, I'm excited. I can't wait to talk about this.
James' sleep has been disturbed, everybody. That stinks. Even though he can fall asleep anywhere. Okay, what's going on to the podcaster formerly known as Dirtball Dan? It is Dan Morton. What is going on, Dan?
Yo. What up? Just trying to get in my last second updates, research. This is always a lot of fun, You get to feel like Mel Kiper and all those we watched growing up. So, it was and it's so much more fun the way the coach is doing it now.
It's definitely a noticeable difference. I mean, in our last episode, I was talking with Coach C, right? And, just that was like the first official episode after the hire. I know we talked about the hiring and we were talking amongst ourselves, like, how is it going to be different? We were excited. But now we've seen, like, how many weeks has it been since the hire of Coach Sean Lewis in the Aztecs program? And it's night and day, guys. I mean, I know we were just been talking amongst ourselves all about just the energy, the recruiting, the uses of, like we heard in the intro. I mean, he said it himself. They're going to use every single resource available at their disposal. And James, it's so funny. Like you said, it's raining now. Thank God it wasn't raining last week. Like, you got to take advantage of the weather. You got to take advantage of all your surroundings, everything that the university has to offer. I mean, whether it's, those beautiful, bright, shiny things like cars or the lovely people and the opportunities. And I think that's something that is probably the driving force, is the opportunities that San Diego has, in particular San Diego State. Not only the opportunity for Coach Lewis and his staff, but for all these young guys that are now starting their journey as new Aztecs. It's a tremendous opportunity for all of them. James, you got anything to add as far as like what you're seeing with Coach Lewis's staff and how they've attacked recruiting in general?
Man, like he gave like the perfect answer of why we've been complaining about the staff not using social media. He gave the perfect answer of why they should be and why they are smart to do it. And just every time that guy talks, man, you pick up something and you get more excited about seeing what he can do here. He's just so smooth and so great at dealing with the media. And he doesn't give just like canned coach responses, man. He gives like, it seems like well thought out, like heartfelt responses to questions. So anytime he talks, man, I'm excited to listen to him, hear what he has to say, and try to pick stuff up from it.
How about you, Dan? I know this is your thing. You are the recruiting guy. So how do you see things from a big picture?
Yeah, I mean, this is so much change. I mean, you could look at just his press conference today when you'd have Rocky and kind of like Brady at this press conference. It almost seemed like they hated the recruits that were signing because they're young, worthless freshmen, right? Like especially Rocky, and that doesn't fly anymore. And it stopped flying a long time ago. You know, first of all, freshmen can play now, right? They could make immediate impact. We saw it this last year. And second of all, like no one wants to be around someone that crotchety, especially an 18-year-old kid. So I think one of the things that Coach Lewis really does is I think he can relate to the younger students. I think he's really authentic. I love what they do on social media. They play the little game where it gives us as fans hints that someone is committing or someone's going to be on campus. It adds a lot more joy to the actual process. Yeah. We don't have those 2-4. We don't have a 247 writer, you know, so we depend on stuff like the staff kind of giving us tidbits and stuff what's going on. And I actually I saw that interview with KUSI where they actually even mentioned a particular player. And he's like, I'm going to speak in general terms, but he just handled it really well, knowing that he couldn't speak about that one recruit because they haven't signed yet. So just in general, man, he's someone that I could see a lot of people, a lot of kids, a lot of families want to play for. And one of the things I took from his press conference today was those people that transferred out, they're not coming back.
No, there's no way. I mean, there's absolutely no way. And let's be real, a large majority of I don't know, a good group of them found homes in like Power 5 schools and all that stuff. But you know, I just love that mentality, right? It's like this is a new start, fresh start. You saw it with, you know, whether it's the coaching staff, you see it with the players. I mean, there's a lot of new signings today, a lot of scholarships to give, and it's exciting. I love it. One of the biggest times of being a fan is the off season, right? I mean, it's recruiting, it's all that type of stuff. Football, we may only play 12 games, you know, at the most, if you get a bowl game or whatnot, college football playoff coming up. And then you got the rest of the year to dwell on the off season and recruiting and all that stuff. You got to make it fun for the fan base, right? Keep them engaged, keep them excited. And like you said, all those tweets, all those little tells, it's just stringing along the fan base, getting them hyped up, building that momentum. That's what you got to do. What were you going to say?
And all the photos, right? Even the staff just showing what's going on. Like us being pumped about the cars that are there and the kids are there, because that is something that was so never going to happen with the prior coaches. Like stuff like that was just never going to happen. And I see some like the older fan base saying, why does the kid have to, they're really going to commit because, because there's a car there? No, they're going to commit because it's fun, first of all. Like it's fun. And like Coach Lewis says, this is a picture that they could have forever. That's always going to remind them about, hey, man, this is what San Diego State's about. We're pulling out all the stops. It shows how much we appreciate you. And, I think it's going to help recruiting so much. And when you think about it, about this recruiting period is he didn't sacrifice the coaching that he wanted, right? We still don't have our defensive coaches out there recruiting heavily. I know they probably are in their off time a little bit. The ones I'm talking about are with Washington, and it took a long time to have official hires throughout the staff. So he didn't just hire anybody just so he could get these recruits in. He took a slow, measured pace, made sure he had the right coaching, and he took a lot of the recruiting on himself. He didn't just sit in his office and wait for all the position coaches to do it. So this has been awesome.
Excellent breakdown there.
How cool was it to have all those videos all prepped and ready? I'm sure they did them when they did their visits, but those videos of the kids in the uniforms, little hype videos, little quick 5-second hype videos. How cool is that to have, man? That would have never happened before.
I know. And I mean, we complained, like, even today, how great at that press conference, how great was it to have a microphone that worked? You know, where you hear people asking questions.
We're talking about that. We're talking about that in the Illuminati. It's like, man, we've been on them for years so we can hear the questions, and there's some great questions, and so that was really cool to hear. Very, very, very
Except
cool.
for Hacksaw. They need to take the mic away from Hacksaw.
You can hear him all the way from Baja to the Canadian Rockies, brother. It won't matter. I love Hacksaw. Take that back. No, I think that speaks to how excited everybody is, though, because they've done certain things like that in the past as well. But right now, it's all good in Aztec Nation. It's all good in Aztec land. And yeah, so let's look at this from an overall big picture, guys. What is this? Geez, this got to be like our 5th year doing this of looking at the recruiting classes. So what order? Because from what I'm seeing so far, and I know there's still going to be more to come as far as in the transfer portal. Like you said, Dan, the defensive coach, he's still coaching in the college football playoffs. So you don't know what's going to happen after that, especially on the defensive side. But right now, as it sits, I'm seeing SDSU being ranked 69th overall nationally, and first in the Mountain West. I know we've been first in the Mountain West before. I've heard some people say, "Oh, it's been the first time in like 10 years," something like that. But I would challenge that. A lot of times these rankings, it's okay. What are you looking at specifically? Stats can always be manipulated a little bit. So somebody can say we had the number 1 rank. No, we had the number 1 rank. It depends what you're looking at. This is a big class.
It should all go off the average.
Yeah.
Because the fact that if, like, say Fresno State has a higher grade because they had more open spots is dumb, like that. I hate that. Hate the cumulative. The average score. It's easy, simple. And I think we're doing pretty well. And I do think we'll get Jordan Anderson. So yeah. So I don't know. It's gonna. I think we'll end up the best in the Mountain West, and probably in the top 60 or so overall.
Okay.
Yeah, I think when I looked just before we came on, I just did the group of 5, and going by average, San Diego State was the 5th best class in the group of 5. So, and if we do sign Anderson, I think that'll bump them into like the top 2 or 3. So it's exciting times, man. This is considering the amount of time he had to do this and the handcuffs he had, like Dan was talking about, where he doesn't have this whole staff out there recruiting. Man, I think this is a really good first signing class for Coach Lewis.
I love it. 202 degree. I know Sean Lewis glad he ain't in Boulder anymore. We've kind of heard him mention a couple things, like not bashing anything at all, but yeah, I think he's happy to be out here. I think they recognize the diamond in the rough that San Diego State is, as Coach O'Boyle says. O'Boyle rules. We got to make that shirt, man. Okay, guys.
Speaking of Colorado, man, I think they only signed like 5 high school recruits today, so they're hurting. I think they were like ranked 99 in the nation right now, or something like that.
Their average was great though.
I'm sure. Okay, guys, how do we want to attack this behemoth of a recruiting class? I want to say, how many are we looking at right now? Like 21, something like that. Eesh. Okay, you know what?
Yeah, I say we.
What do you think?
What do you think? Start with just the high school kids first.
Okay.
Go through that, and we could talk about the transfers, and then high school kids, just whatever, just go in any order, really.
Okay. Let's take a look. What do we got here? I don't see a name that. Oh, okay. Mr. Nimmo. You guys have him on your list, Mr. Nimmo?
Yeah, he's a transfer.
He's a transfer.
Oh, okay. I'm looking at the wrong list. Let's see.
I say we just start at the top, man.
Like even like 247 doesn't have all these guys on there yet.
Yeah. Like we could start with O'Neal, but I think everybody's talked about that guy. Like, awesome, great to have him. I don't want to we can talk about him if you want, but to me, it seems like that's already been covered pretty much everywhere. To me, like one of the ones I'm really excited about, and he's been committed to San Diego State for a while, and kind of just, don't think anybody really made that big of a thing about it is the wide receiver from Carlsbad, Cianfrini. I like those rangy wide receivers, and he's one of those big, tall wide receivers, and he's got some wheels too. And I'm excited to see what he can do when he gets on campus. I'm not sure if he's an early enrollee. I can't remember if he is or not. But that would be great because that would add some size right away to the receiving core.
Cianfrini, as we see here. Okay, we can go that route. Let's see. Now, some big catches. A lot of these highlights that I saw from Cianfrini, he's just going up there and getting the ball. I mean, what does that tell you guys as far as them going towards these sized players at the wide receiver spot? It's kind of a throwback.
Yeah, I think there'll be a mix of size and kind of more slot speedy guys. So a little background on this guy. So during all the camps, when he had to be catching for Julian Sayin, all the quarterbacks, including O'Neal, talked about how great this guy was about catching the ball and making some spectacular plays to that where even Julian Sayin was asking Alabama to offer him. Like he was really impressive. He's a big kid who I just watched do like a reverse dunk, threw the ball down on Twitter. So he's a good basketball player. He's one of those two sport guys that Coach Lewis talked about. I was shocked that we got him. He had a lot of strong offers. It seems like he wants to be in San Diego, and boy, did he make a right decision, right? If he was willing to commit to that previous offense, just think of how lucky he is to play in this offense that Sean Lewis is going to bring. So, he was one of the better players.
Yeah, I think the quote when O'Neal was on his visit, I may mess it up, not get it exactly, I guess paraphrasing. O'Neal said something like, "Hey, isn't that wide receiver that was making all those crazy catches at the Elite 11 camp?" And he was talking about Cianfrini. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what he can do for the red and black, man. It's going to be fun to watch his progression.
There's another wide receiver that's in his same mold. Is Ben Scolari, the Nevada recruit that we flipped. To me, him and Hollick or whatever, the two most underrated recruits that we have. If you had a chance to watch Ben Scolari's film, it's better than any wide receiver's film that you're going to see that we're bringing in. He creates a ton of space. I think he caught like maybe 40 balls for like 1,100 yards. So his average is obscene. He was like the grandchild of Coach Alt at Nevada. So he was always supposed to go there. So when the coaching change came, it gave us a great opportunity. But look how far he's pulling away. I mean, look how easy that was in that film. I'm telling you, like, I was shocked about how good he was, and I was shocked at his lack of offers. And it basically, to me, it came down to maybe people always assumed that he was going to go to Nevada, just because the family passed there. But to me, I think he's the most underrated based on both the rating and the offers.
Yeah, I agree. To mention, you talked about Holick. I apologize if I mispronounced his name. But dude, that kid, I think he's listed at like 6'8", 300 pounds, but he looks like a tight end. He looks like already physically ready to play at this level. And he's watching this film. He's like pretty athletic for a guy his size, and he's kind of like the future of what offensive tackles are going to look like in the college level and beyond. Obviously, they look like it already in the NFL. Guys that aren't just like big, heavy guys. They're big athletic guys. And especially for the type of offense Lewis wants to run, with the amount of screens and stuff that they run where the offensive linemen have to really get out and get downfield and run, he's like the perfect tackle for that kind of system. So like you said, Dan, he's really underrated, and I'm really excited to see how he grows in the system.
Okay, so do we want
all over the place, huh, Matt?
Yeah. I know what you're talking about, and that definitely jumped out to me as well. I figure we stay with the offensive side of the ball right now since we're on receivers. And
Dude, if you have it there, pull up Holick's little video they posted of him. I don't know if you have it handy, but you can like look at him, and he doesn't look like an offensive lineman. He looks like a tight end.
Let's see.
If you don't have it handy, don't worry about it. Just play it later or whatever.
James is messing everything up. First, he has to do the thing that shows him. This is why James is never on these ones usually. It's messing us all up.
No, I'm not seeing it.
Our tech guy is screwing the pooch, man.
Not seeing it. But yeah, I love the fact that Scolari, if that was, it's like he got some bad comments from those Nevada fans up there in Reno. Boy, they are.
Oh, they did.
Yeah. Ooh, got that.
Bad, dude. They thought they had.
Matt, what I say you do
they
is
call
you
those
just
like legacy pickup.
Go ahead, Dan. What was that?
Matt, yeah, you just bring the player, then we'll talk about him.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's see who else. Who else got in here?
Otherwise,
Okay.
Hey, you brought him up, dude. I didn't bring him up.
I just brought him up as underrated. I didn't. You're still showing the Scolari video, and you're like all going all in on this guy.
All right. Let's talk about a local guy that I was very curious about, and that is that's McMillan. Now he was an early commit, so the fact that we changed staff and he stuck around and he was so dug in. I know he's not necessarily going to be an offensive guy at this next level, right, Dan?
Yeah, that's the big question. If you looked at his, they said running back on what San Diego State showed with his commitment, but I don't see him as a running back. I don't know if he's just quick enough or fast enough. I'd like him at maybe like a fullback, H-back. I know some people see him want him like at linebacker. You didn't get a lot of video of him this year playing running back. So I'm not even sure what the necessarily plan is for him, but I want his physicality kind of in the front seven. If would be my preference for sure. I
mean, man, some of these clips where he just destroys people on the defensive end, I was really excited to see that. So I'm curious to see how he's going to fit in there. You got any thoughts on that, James?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, man. I like him at linebacker, or possibly, depending on if his body fills out a little more, he could even play like edge. He's kind of got that like a little bit of burst, and he's not very tall, but that position, we still don't know how they're going to run the 4-2-5. You can run the 4-2-5 a bunch of different ways, kind of like the 3-3-5. There's different variations of it, and it just depends. That edge guy, he can either be like a long, rangy guy, or he can be like a shorter, like thick guy with like a quick burst, kind of like, remember Jerry Hughes at TCU back in the day? I could see him filling that role as well. So it'll be interesting to see where he ends up. And if worst case scenario, maybe he does show the burst. I like him as a big back as well. I just prefer him on the defensive side of the ball. Just let his athleticism and size take over on that side.
To me, his build reminds me of Trey White.
Yeah.
Now the current team. That's what he looks like to me. I'm not sure if he's ever going to be like an edge pass rusher, just because this doesn't have that length, But I'd like him like inside linebacker, just meeting the fullback in the backfield or tackling a running back. And we didn't get a lot of linebackers in this class, So it's maybe they do see him at that position.
And who knows, after this early signing day, maybe things will pan out a little differently. It's got that physicality though, and definitely the physicality you get excited about. Like where can you plug him in? So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Okay, guys, let's talk about a tight end, Arthur Ban. This guy is pretty interesting to me. You guys got any thoughts on Arthur, Dan?
Yeah, the one thing I was really excited about that he stuck with San Diego State, because you always are concerned about what these tight ends are going to feel about Coach Lewis's offense and how much they're going to be used or utilized. And there's a lot of misconceptions. But, man, this is one of these guys that's going to be – you almost don't want him to put too much weight on. You want him to keep that length and that speed and be a mismatch out there, and not get too heavy for the blocking side, because I want this guy in line. I want this guy making plays. I want him being a pass catcher, because that's what he does. If you read some of the reports on him on 247, they were pretty glowing. So I was happy that he stuck and honored his commitment.
6'5", 210? Around 210, hovering about that. I mean, man, you seen some of these catches. That's a big body.
Yeah, I would love him like at 235 or so, that type of size.
Yeah, he's the perfect offline tight end for a spread, or I guess they're going to call this offense like a veer option offense. He's a perfect offline guy because he can line up as a receiver and be a threat that way. And then when you run when you run the ball, you have that big body out there lined up against a safety or a receiver who can just control him, even though he's, small for a tight end, I guess you would say.
Now, I want to look at another tight end, perhaps. But James or Dan, do you guys have any insight on that tight end position? Because it is something a little different, I think, than what we're used to, like with traditional tight ends.
Well, I want to see how they use the tight ends more. It looks, from what I saw like more H-back type stuff, but I don't know that that's necessarily true or necessarily what they want to do, just for how much they've been recruiting the tight end since they've been here. They're going out everywhere. They went after a lot of transfers. They went after a lot of high school kids, so they value it. They value the position. So I'm more just interested in seeing how he will be used in the offense.
Now, this one we're looking at right here is Ryan Wolfer.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a misnomer or misconception.
Yeah, so the thing about Ryan Wolfer is, like, if you look at 247, it shows him as a tackle. If you see what we released or what San Diego State put on the commitment, it says tight end. He was a really good tight end in Arizona. I don't know if he has the speed necessarily to be like a great tight end pass catcher. So I want to see if maybe they start him at tight end with the idea of eventually moving to left tackle or a tackle position.
Yeah, I think when Lewis was first hired and we were talking about the commits, I told you guys I think he looks like an offensive tackle in that system to me. But I think the misnomer about Sean Lewis and tight ends comes from Kent State, because I don't really think he got the kind of guy he wanted to play tight end at Kent State. I think it was just a function of he used what he had kind of thing. Versus, look what he did at Colorado. They threw the tight end a lot at Colorado. The transfer we got from Colorado, he had a bunch of catches and touchdowns. So I don't think he's not going to use the tight end in this offense. I think he just didn't have that kind of athlete at Kent State. And so I think we're going to see the tight end heavily involved in the offense going forward here.
Definitely. Is that kind of I'm curious about that, the interchangeability that you see from maybe that tight end being able to play on the line. 247 has Wolfer as a offensive tackle, as Mr. Klein says. I noticed that as well.
You guys didn't hear me just say that?
Yeah. Fiend, they got to be one of the most versatile and smartest players on the field. Yes, if I was a football player, I would be a tight end for sure. Okay, let's see. Who else do we want to talk about on the list coming down? Okay. I don't want to get into one of the later signings just yet. Let's go to somebody who was also very, very, very excitable, but on the opposite side of the field. Isaiah Buxton. Now, this signing So a lot of social media buzz about this signing. Guys, the physicality is there. Look at these hits. I wish I could zoom in on that a little bit more. The dude loves to hit in the defensive backfield, and man, can never underestimate the excitement of signing somebody like local, right?
All right, so let me give you some background on him. He blew up before the season. That's where all those offers came from. I think even his commitment to Arizona was before the season started. And then you watch his highlight tape, and what you see on there is really good, but it's very little on defense.
More
receiving, receiving. So I wonder. I'm not sure that Arizona honored his commitment. To be honest, I think that's probably what happened. They recruited him as a DB, and then you don't see any DB film this year, really. But their loss is our gain because he was recently at the Makasaki or Basaki Bowl or whatever it is.
Makasi.
And he was like the standout DB there. They said, man, they got to steal just with how well he played. I'm not sure what happened. I'm not sure if he was injured or what was going on, but there wasn't that much highlight tape of him. I don't really know.
I mean, we got a tradition here of good corners that like to tackle. And I think he just fits in with that, that DeMonte Casey, Leon McFadden, that corner that's a great cover corner that can tackle as well and contribute in the tackling game. I think it's a great pickup. It's even better. He's a local guy from a great program. So it's a win for us. Like Dan said, Arizona's loss is our gain.
All right. Got to keep building that fence. Got to keep building that fence and keep our recruits. Was that Dan?
That's one of the things that's weird though. Let's see if you guys caught this. What do you think Coach Lewis thinks a hometown hero is? What area?
I think Coach Lewis
thinks all California, honestly.
Yeah, I think so too.
So these people that are all these San Diego high school coaches that are like, oh yeah, dude, hometown hero. Man, you guys still gonna have to compete for your kids to come here because
he was talking about Duffy when he talked about a hometown hero.
Yeah.
Hey, that's Inland Empire. Inland Empire loves San Diego State, man.
Dude, there was
Inland Empire.
There was someone even further where we got to keep them home or something, and it was like in Northern California or something. I forget who it was. So I think he's like, dude, California, man. Yeah, if you're in California, that's our hometown.
Yeah, that's how it should be, man. That's how it should be. We're the third largest city in California. Might as well. They all want to be here. Everybody wants to be in San Diego. You want to be in LA. You don't want to be in LA, man. You really don't. You really don't. Okay.
IE is suburban San Diego. That's a good one.
That deserves a highlight. Absolutely. Absolutely, man. We love the IE. I mean, Kawhi Leonard, come on. Okay. Let's talk to somebody on the defensive side of the ball. Somebody I was really pumped up there, and they're from I want to say Cody Cornelius up in Petaluma, which I got some family up in that area, up in the Bay, a little north of the Bay area, and he looks like a smasher.
Yeah, his film's probably the funnest to watch. Honestly, the guy's crushing people on his film. He was another one that was recruited by the previous staff, so I was happy that he honored the commitment. We never get recruits like this that are already 300 pounds coming in, So he's we offered him pretty early. I wasn't sure what he was going to do, and then all of a sudden he just committed to San Diego State. So I followed him instantly, on Twitter. I was excited as soon as we offered him because we don't recruit kids like this typically, or didn't in the past.
Look at this. Look at this guy. Just tracks him down. Number 51. Is that Dick Buckus number? Is that Dick Buckus? All right.
I mean, look at that. I mean, dude, this is one of them that I can't believe we were able to get him. That quickness at 300 pounds.
Yeah, he's a lot like I see a lot of like Jonah Tavai in him, dude. So
yeah,
that's he's a guy that could, depending on how they run the 4-2-5, he'll either play like nose, or if they run it more like a 4-3 front, he'll be an interior tackle. So he'll cause some havoc up in that front. So it's going to be exciting to see him. Like Dan said, man, we don't get these 300-pound guys that are a good 300 pounds, not like 300 pounds that need to get down to like 275. So it's exciting to have a guy come in like that who could possibly contribute right away.
Wow. Okay. All right. Try not to feed the trolls over here. Try not to feed the trolls over here. But I will put it in. I will say this. You know, Boise's on their interim coach, and they didn't beat UCLA. So I think San Diego State has a lot more to be excited about, since, you know, the sky's the limit with us. And I think Boise's already, Boise's already seeing their ceiling come and go.
You know, Boise's worried when they're worried about our situation over here.
I mean, anytime we get a troll, we get them. You know, especially in the basketball side, they just started popping up. That tends to happen when you go to a national championship. You know what I mean? So it's okay. It's all right, guys. I mean, Edio, does Boise even have a quarterback? I don't pay attention to Boise. I really don't. I don't know what happened with their coach. That seemed like a whole bit of craziness, but it's all good. It's all good.
You guys still talking about Boise?
Nah, enough about the team on the blue carpet, bro. Let's talk about something else.
Okay, let's move on to one Mr. Mitchell. You guys cool to talk about Jason Mitchell, I believe from St. John Bosco up in Bellflower. Can we talk about him?
Yeah, why not?
All right. Let's
get the video on there. See if you get his name and shit on there.
Oh man, is that? Let's see.
He gets a beer and comes in with demands right away.
I mean, this is why we had to start at 7. No, I mean, a lot of people know about him too. He went to school with the running back commit that we'll get Rainey, that we'll talk about later. He was always really well thought of the last years. Like he's a legacy at USC. He transferred schools to the Gardenia Sarah school, where like he had to sit out the first half, so he never got really a flow, which is something that probably is a benefit to us, or really helped us in the recruiting, that maybe some people may have backed away a bit because of not having a lot of tape. But I mean, he's a freak. He's a legit like 4-star athlete that kind of maybe got slept or forgotten a bit. But he's like 6'3", 180 pounds. They see him as a corner. That's at his size and his speed. You know, that's a matchup nightmare. Obviously, he's great just from his rankings and the offers and whatnot. But he seemed, if you read some of the reports, he seemed to really be fired up about coming to San Diego, and didn't seem like he was trying to big time the school at all in any way. So I was excited just for him, and I think he's trying to help recruit others to come, including the running back that we got commit from today, and including Robert Anderson.
You mean Jordan Anderson?
Or Jordan Anderson. There you go. Damn.
Yeah. Dude, he's like 6'3"-ish, a little more, a little less, whatever. But like Dan said, a guy that big that can play corner, he can play pretty much anywhere in your defensive backfield. And to have like an athlete like that, that's we don't get that here very often. So it's awesome to see. I'm excited to see him play corner because he's got the ability to do it with that size, man. He'll just be shutting people down. So it's going to be fun to watch him develop in this defense and see the kind of plans they have for him. They may even have him play that rover or whatever they're going to call that position, the old Aztec position in the 4-2-5. Like I said, he can play anywhere on defense in the back five. So that versatility is another thing that's great.
Now, Eddie O says Jason Mitchell is going to be like Josh Simmons 2.0. Now, 2.0 means an improvement. It means, the next level, right? The next level. And okay, we all saw Josh Simmons. He's a Buckeye, but I think the situation that he's coming into, I think now is going to be more conducive for success here at San Diego State. We'll see. But that type of talent, it's all good. I won't complain at all. Okay. Let's see. Who do we got next? Who do I see next coming down? Okay. No. Okay. Here's one that came in kind of late on the day today, but I think we talked about his teammate. That's a running back position. How do you say his name? Sincere Rainey?
Yeah, that's what I think.
Or Ronnie. Okay.
We never hear these names. Stated. It's all you're always reading them, so you never really know. So he was okay. So even before he committed to San Jose State, if you go through and read all the old reports, he was really highly rated. He had a lot of offers early on, and then Greg Biggins made the point that even it's not just the NFL or the pro football where the running back position's really undervalued. It's also at college. A lot of the coaches at these schools think instead of just taking a freshman running back, I could just get a transfer that has a little bit of experience, already has the size and whatnot. But he committed to San Jose State. He played linebacker early on, but he stopped kind of growing. He ended up like a 5'9", 5'10", but he's a ripped 200 pounds. He's powerful. He has really good quick hips, really quick footed. I think like as a running back, he's probably our best all around like ability running back recruit that we've had in quite some time. And he wasn't even on my radar because I just found out about him today. I checked him out when he committed to San Jose State to think, damn, how the hell did they get this kid? But I went back, watched all the film, read all the reports, and he's another one that played with Mitchell, and he knows also Jordan Anderson as well.
Yeah, just looking at the tape, man. I mean, he looks like he can do it all. Good size, good speed for compact muscle. Kind of a different style of running back than I think we're used to recently. You know what I mean? I don't know if you guys vibe with that or jive with that, but man, look at that.
Yeah, I can't remember having a compact, speedy guy like this in a while. Like I can't remember the last one we had. Maybe Muema is probably the closest one I can come with, and he wasn't that speedy. So yeah, we haven't had a guy like this in a long time. So
I thought maybe Chase Price, someone like
close.
His body and the way he kind of moves and his patience kind of reminds me of like Thurman Thomas back in the day. Just that size. He's running a lot more physical than Thurman did, but who knows what Thurman did in high school, But I'm saying like just the size, the way he moves and his vision and whatnot. That's what kind of came to my head.
Okay. All right. Okay, guys, can we talk about some linemen? I don't tend to get a lot of video on some of these linemen, but let me shout out a name to you guys. I'm looking at Braden Bryant. James, I know you love the interior guys. What's that?
This is a transfer.
Is that a transfer? Who can we talk about on the line? We need to get some linemen some love out
here.
Do
it, James. The guy you spoke about already.
Yeah, Holick was the one I talked about. I like I said, I like Wolfer as an offensive tackle going forward as well. I don't know if they're going to do that, but to me, he seems like a guy that could really develop, after a redshirt year, putting on like 40, 50 pounds. he could really develop into a talented offensive lineman, especially in this offense where they're going to require the offensive lineman to run quite a bit and be athletic. So if Wolfer and Holick are the two guys from this class, I think they got two guys with a lot of potential, two long athletic guys that could fill that tackle position. And we're kind of light on the tackle position. Looking at the roster, the official roster that they have out right now, all of the tackle candidates pretty much are juniors. There's nothing really underneath them. So I think it's a big deal if they can get those two guys to be the tackles for this class, and then hopefully bring a few more tackles in the transfer portal to kind of balance out the depth of the layout of the offensive tackle position.
We'll talk about your man Kai, dude. Come on.
Oh, I already talked about him, man. That guy. If somebody would have came through with that video so you guys could see what I was talking about, he's dude, he's 6'8", 300 pounds, and he looks like he could go out surfing in San Diego right now. He's like a physical specimen, dude. So I'm excited to see what they can do when he gets in the training program here. Man, he could grow into a monster. And talk about a big line. You imagine him and Jones as bookends on the offensive line. 6'8" and 6'9" out there.
Well, so a little like his recruitment. So he was really unknown, except for the guys that follow him up in Washington, Brandon Huffman. And then Brandon Huffman shows up to a camp right around September. I think he had already committed to San Diego State, or it was right before he committed to San Diego State. And he's like, wow, what the hell happened to this kid? He grew, his quickness improved, everything improved. He's nasty, he's quick, he's athletic. He said he's the offensive lineman in Washington that made the biggest jump. So this is one of those where we're lucky that we get him early, we recruit him, he commits before he really starts blowing up. And he stayed in there after the coaching change. And he was one of those that was most excited or really active on social media, really pumping up the program, reaching out to other recruits, trying to get them to commit, including Danny O'Neill. So he's been worth his weight in gold. And I think for me, he's the player that has the highest ceiling in this whole class. I think this kid could be a star. I think he could be an NFL player at tackle. So I'm really excited about him. I can't wait to see him out there and on the field.
Man, that deserves a damn Daniel.
What the hell's going on with James? Is he asleep?
He might be froze. He might be froze.
Every time, dude. I told you we shouldn't do live shows, man.
Oh, we got Angel saying, "Wake up, James! Wake up!"
I'm going through my spiel. I just happen to look and I see James all falling asleep on me.
That was classic. That was great. Nothing like being live and direct. Live and direct, James. He is back to avenge himself. Okay. All right, guys. What's another name we can get down on the list? A lot of guys I didn't get video on, so let's attack some of these guys. Let's see.
All right.
Well, we could do Prince Williams.
Yeah, that's who I was going to go to next.
Sure you were.
Yeah,
sure you were.
Like it sucked. We get this commitment, right? And at the time, you see his other offers, and they're like Sacred Heart or some schools like that, or Portland State, USD, Stony Brook, and you're thinking, dude, what the hell does San Diego State seeing this kid that nobody else obviously does? That's from a G5 or a Power 5. And then I got to read some articles and some scouting reports, and Biggins once again was like a fan of this recruit. He's saying he's one of the most explosive athletes out west. He had a lot of pass breakups. He like he had some interceptions. He was a playmaker. He likes to tackle. I don't know why he wasn't higher recruited. His grade is high at 86 from he could be an absolute steal for us.
All right, I think you were chopping up. You're chopping up a little bit, Dan. It looks like you are frozen now. You got the froze bug.
20.3.
Yeah, dude.
Let us know in the comments if you got all of Dan's message there. Let us know in the comments, because you know he was chopping up like Bruce Lee.
Yeah, he's like Dan talked about, he's one of those guys kind of underrated that slipped under the radar. Thank goodness for us. But if you look at his tape, man, he's great ball skills, going after the ball, gets his hand on it. Good athlete, and he's a pretty good sized corner. He's 6 foot or so, which is solid for a corner at the FBS level. So it's another to go along with Buxton and possibly Mitchell at corner. I think they got a pretty good corner class when you add all those guys in for this class, and then Bayer as well. If you want to jump to him from Centennial, he comes from a great program. Another athletic guy, and this class, like, man, it seems like the floor on this class is a lot higher, and the ceiling is a lot higher as well. There's not, I don't see many like reaches, guys that they kind of got out of nowhere that have nobody looking at, and I think that's a really good sign for the eye that this staff has.
All right, we're showing Tate and Bayer over here as everybody's clowning Dan's the internet. Dan is on dial-up. He's on dial-up. No, Tate and Bayer, man, he was impressed with his film, the energy. Like, just looking at his film, man, a lot of fun. Look at this, knocking the guys over. The fans are so excited. He gets back up. He gets back up when he falls down off the ground. I love that. You love to see that fight, that competitive spirit. He can celebrate with the fans like the best. And yeah, love it. All right. Dan, what do you got to say about
he almost
Bayer?
flipped.
Yeah? To where? Don't matter.
Fresno,
it doesn't matter.
Fresno State. He took a late.
Okay, it does matter. Very
trip there.
Very, very smart man, and lays the lumber. Look at that hit. We got to watch that again. Very smart man, decided not to go to the Valley. Bam! Oh my goodness. Woo! Yes.
Yeah, another good tackling corner. You love to see that, especially going against these modern offenses that throw that two-man screen game all the time, which Boise does and Fresno does. So, yeah, you need those corners that can get through a blocker and make the tackle on that two-man screen game out wide.
Whew, okay, all right. Let's see
who's left.
Let's see who else do we want to see.
Man, I don't want to mess up his name, but Ryan Gaea. I hope I didn't mess it up too bad. Out of Stockton St. Mary's.
We could do that. We could do that.
Looks like they're going to bring him in as an edge. He's got good size, good explosiveness, and another guy from a good program. St. Mary's is a good program up there in the what is that, like Northern California area. So yeah, he's another edge guy. Like I said, we don't know how they're going to run this 4-2-5. We just know they're going to have an edge, but we don't know how the rest of the D line is going to fill out. So some of those edge guys, you can put a little more size on them and have them play. And if they play the front like a 3-4 or maybe even interior tackle or outside end, if they run it more like a 4-3 front. So yeah, it's gonna be cool to watch guys like this. There's versatility, I think, is a thing I mentioned earlier with Mitchell. That a lot of these guys have like versatility, and like as well as McMillan, they have several different positions they can fill and come in and contribute as they develop as a college athlete. So he's just another one of those guys that you see, like, he's got that quickness, always going after the ball, good motor. So yeah, I'm excited to see what he can develop into here.
6'4", 230. With on this defense, this edge position, the edges. I'm curious to see on when the defense, when we get to hear from the defensive coordinator a little bit, his philosophy and especially in that position, getting to the quarterback, sealing the edge, different things of that nature. Very curious to hear what.
He seems like a long-term play for me.
Yeah.
Like he looks. I want to see him like his athleticism improve a bit on the edge. He's a little lighter, so he's not. I mean, he's got to put some pounds on. I think he's a guy that you look out. You're waiting for maybe a redshirt sophomore or junior year to really make an impact. Now, granted, this might be the type of end though our staff wants, because they recruited him. The previous staff did not. So maybe they want longer.
Damn it, he's getting choppy. that dial up.
The dial-up's working.
Yeah, I get what he was saying though. Like the guy wasn't really pursued by the previous staff, so this is kind of the new staff's idea of what they want in a defensive lineman. So yeah, this might be the kind of guy they're looking for to play edge or end in this defense, or maybe even, like I said, if they run it, depending on how they run the front, he could play pretty much anywhere on that defensive line.
Oh, I'm loving it. Loving it. I'm reading the comments. Yeah. Might have to think of some new intros. He's back.
There you go. He's probably resetting.
Probably resetting.
Yeah, that Dial Up Dan is his new name. That's a good one.
Damn, Daniel.
Gotta love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Most of the videos I got next are of like transfers and whatnot, so we're not ready.
I think we have one more high school guy, dude. Danny New. I know I'm gonna butcher that name.
Yeah.
He's they have him listed he's listed as an athlete, but on the Aztec site in the official deal, they have him listed as a linebacker. And yeah, that I can see that he's an athletic dude. He's even athletic enough to play safety, and I think that's kind of why they had him as an athlete. He's an athletic guy, and if that's going to be I think in the 4-2-5, the linebackers are more like sideline to sideline guys. So he's like the perfect fit for that kind of defense. So it'll be fun watching him run around. He's an active guy, really good athleticism, really good mobility. Yeah, dude, he's a great contribution to the linebacker position for this team.
Okay, before we move on, we do got to talk about the quarterback position, guys. We do got to talk about a little bit about, well, before we get to AJ. Let's talk about Danny.
Oh yeah.
I mean, because this was we went through it extensively with Coach C. If you guys check out the last episode, we kind of went through some game tape of him already. But to see him, follow Coach over, I mean, realistically, with AJ coming in now, I'm curious to see how that's going to play out. Of course, AJ is a sophomore from what we're looking at, redshirt sophomore, so he's got some time. And with Danny, it gives him some time to develop and really, really pick the brain of Coach and get on the same page offensively. But I mean, we went from having two quarterbacks in 1 week and now stepping up the offense. I mean, realistically, how do you guys see, we get excited about all the new recruits and stuff, but I mean, moving forward, immediate impact. I mean, how do you guys look moving forward immediately,
I don't expect Danny O'Neill to play. I mean, I think he red shirts, and then when AJ Duffy's a junior, he'd be a freshman. So maybe at that point they could compete. If he loses out, then what? He's a sophomore when Duffy's a senior. I don't want him to play as a freshman. I mean, the way he plays and the way this offense is, he's going to get killed. He's going to get crushed. You know that they expect the running back, the quarterback to run the ball a lot. You want him to get stronger, get a little bit more mature, and then come in later. So I don't think there's and he kind of said as much too. He didn't seem like he felt all this pressure to have to play right away.
Yeah, I don't think that was like a condition of him coming here. He understands he may have to redshirt, and he said he's willing to do that. And I think especially a guy coming from Indianapolis to San Diego, just for life as a college student, I think it'd be good for him to redshirt to adjust to being this far away from home and stuff like that. And yeah, dude, it's interesting to hear Coach Lewis talk about on the press conference that he identified him while he was a head coach at Kent State as a guy like he wanted, but he realized he was like above the level that they could recruit. So it's interesting. This is kind of like he's going to be like Coach Lewis's prototype kind of guy. So I wouldn't be surprised if he redshirts this year, but it's going to be an open competition, I think, in spring ball. I think if he's the best guy, he's going to be the guy, whether he's physically ready or not. But hopefully in my opinion, for better for him and for the program, for him to redshirt, and like you said, Dan, get stronger, get mentally adjusted to being a FBS athlete and dealing with college and being away from home and all that stuff. I think it'd be good for him to redshirt and then have an open competition next year, depending on what happens this year with whoever wins the job this year.
So looking at the quarterback depth chart, we've seen, some of the names that haven't left. It's kind of curious at the quarterback spot: Tobin O'Neill, Kyle Crum, Leo Omave, and of course Javance, Tupuwata Johnson, and adding in Danny and AJ. I mean, I have no inside track. I mean, do we have any thoughts on whether any of the guys are they all coming back? I don't know if I've heard anything.
Coach Lewis at the press conference today said there was 3 guys here and there's 4 guys on the roster. So I don't know if maybe he wasn't counting Odell because he's a walk-on, or maybe one of the guys left that we haven't heard about. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see when like the official spring roster comes out, who's listed.
You guys got any thoughts on AJ, Mr. AJ from the Inland Empire, AJ Duffy?
Dude, he's another Elite 11 like freak recruit, man. Guy can run, he can throw, he can do it all. So
I'm kind of with James. These are the ones I care less about, really, because they're so easily researched. Like you could just go find anything on this guy right now, and he's from the inland Riverside or whatever. He goes to IMG, which is the powerhouse of Florida. Top 200 recruit. He has a really strong arm. You're not going to really see it probably on this. I was watching some other tapes. I was watching the tape that you and Coach C did, Matt, where he talks about that laser that goes right down the seam of the football field. And he's like, "Oh my!" Your Coach C was like, "Holy crap!" Like now that's a throw, because it really was like a really amazing throw. I wonder if there might be some. I wonder if there's some accuracy issue. What's that? Here it is, right here.
That just threw right there was off his back foot, and he threw it like 25 yards right on the dot.
Yeah, the tape speaks for itself in the high school ranks, and it's gonna be fun to see him compete now at this level, and him coming all the way back to Southern California. I think he's gonna have a lot to play for. He's gonna want to show improve, and I'm excited. But I hear you, Dan. There's so much out there already. You can go check it out.
And the guy has like 10,000 followers on Twitter. He seems to have like a marketing company already for him. Having him start is probably gonna bring some extra fans in to the games. You know, that's one of the benefits about keeping kids home. You know, you get more of the family and friends all involved. It brings a more of an atmosphere.
Okay. Are there anybody left that aren't as researched that you've been dying to talk about, Dan?
Dude, I don't know. It seems like this has been going on forever.
Or have we reached it? Have we reached our point?
I actually think I know we talked about him, Tatum Bayer. I think he's probably one of the better players. He had a really good year at Centennial. I know we talked to him briefly with the other cornerbacks, but he's one that I think we should be really excited to get, and we had to do everything we could to hang on to him. So he's a really good player. Other than that, I think we should probably get into the transfers.
Okay. All right. I know there's one transfer I was interested in hearing you guys talk about, and that was, somebody coming over from Colorado. That's Michael Harrison. Following coach that offense. It seemed, we were watching that game. Me and James were watching that game in Oregon State in Corvallis, and we were watching this game on TV, and it just seemed like they were just getting him the ball, and he was just making things happen against Colorado State. So that was fun to see. James, you remember this game? Watching this one that they're in Corvallis in Portland?
Oh yeah, that was a crazy game, man. Watching it at that club, I guess you could call it, in Corvallis, with like 10 people in it.
Well, he was the target. Portland.
I mean, I'm sorry, Portland. My bad. Yeah, dude. You guys are talking about Harrison, right?
Yeah, that was his guy. That was Shadur's guy in that game.
For anybody that says, Lewis doesn't use the tight ends, I mean, this is just a perfect example.
Well, that's good to have somebody who knows the offense. I think that's really important. Installing this new offense, coach is going to need people that can get it going and be an example and teach the other guys right off the bat. I don't think that could be understated. Oh, okay. All right. Who's another transfer you guys are interested in coming in?
Go ahead, James.
No, I was going to say, I haven't, to be honest, I haven't had a chance to watch a lot of film on him yet. But I've seen some good things about him. Is the offensive tackle from Akron.
Miller, right?
Nate Williams.
Well, yeah, Nate Williams.
Yeah, Nate Williams. He, people, he comes from the MAC, but the MAC had a #1 draft pick offensive lineman not too long. 10 years ago or so. So the MAC can produce some players, and I think Nate Williams, from the stuff I've heard, he's going to be like an underrated, solid a guy who's probably going to come in and start right away. So I think it's a big pickup. It's a position of need. And he kind of he's going to be familiar with the strength and conditioning coach already, so that'll be good for getting everybody to buy in. There's a voice in the room that's been around the strength and conditioning coach. So yeah, I think that's a really kind of underrated pickup that you haven't really been talked about. Everybody's talking about the quarterback and everybody else, but I think that's a really solid pickup and a guy that can contribute next year.
I think we got a bargain with Jashawn Polk. Like, we got on the cheap. He was at Kent State, really speed guy, fast guy. I guess he was, from what I heard from Coach Lewis today, he was Georgia champion in the 400. He had a really good year at Kent State. Decides to transfer to West Virginia. Was pretty much hurt all year, or banged up, didn't really play. And decides to transfer, and then this was a slam dunk that he was going to come to San Diego State, obviously. But fast, speed, a little bit smaller, which you also need. We can't just have these huge lumbering wide receivers. We need some slot guys. We need some smaller guys that you throw those screens to. So I think he'll probably be explosive, and also in the kick return game as well.
Okay. All right. Let's see. I know there's one transfer. Has a cool name.
Bryce Phillips.
Zach Morris.
DB from New Mexico.
Yeah, man. Zach Morris.
From what's the name of that damn school in that show?
Bayside.
Bayside. From Bayside High School.
Now,
Dude, that guy must be hearing that his whole life. He must be so sick of it.
I'm sure. Safety, right? 6'1", 190 from the Lobos.
I think he's gonna play corner.
No, he was a corner, dude.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he was a honorable mention All Mountain West guy. So he's already proven he can do it at the Mountain West level. So yeah, dude, it's a great addition. I think he's he's definitely no, actually he's from Texas. I was gonna say I thought he was from California, but he's from Texas. So that's a good pickup. As a guy who's already proved he can do it. So and another solid corner they added in this class.
Hopefully Cody Moon was instrumental in telling him, "Hey man, come out to Cali, come out to San Diego."
He had some decent offers in the transfer portal as well. Washington State, UTSA. So he was a good get.
Nice, yeah. Okay, all right.
We could talk about Bryce Phillips. His I believe his brother played at Utah. It was a DB there. I think he might even be in the NFL now. But we recruited him out of like Santa Ana or Orange County. We didn't really offer him or didn't pursue him that much. He goes to Tennessee State. He puts up really good numbers there, pass defense. I think he's going to be a starting cornerback when he comes back. He's one of these that he's probably going to talk. Coach Lewis will probably say we're bringing him home, or he's a hometown kid, whatever you want to say. But I liked that pickup. He's another one that had some good offers. And yeah, I think he could be a star. I mean, we lost our starting cornerbacks, right? So I think either of these guys could be a starter, or both of them be our starters.
Looking through
much difference, by the way, from like a Des Malone type and these two guys coming in.
Yeah, I think the corner with the transfers they brought in and the young guys, I think we're looking pretty good. Plus the guys already on the roster. I think corner is in pretty good shape going forward. And,
I mean, Bryce Phillips had a Houston, had a Tulane offer in the transfer portal.
Yeah, and you mentioned Nemo earlier, or Nemo. I don't know however you want to say it. However he says it, we'll have to wait and see the pronunciation guide when it comes out. But he played a lot for UCLA last year.
Yeah,
he's already a guy that showed he can contribute at the Power 5 level. So he's a guy, we lost some safeties as well. So it'll be, I think he's a guy that can kind of come in and possibly start and contribute right away.
Dan, did you have anything? Did we already mention Marlon Lewis?
No, we didn't.
No,
that was somebody. I mean, I know he's coming from.
Richmond,
Richmond Spiders.
I mean, it's a position of need, right? Obviously, and he was really productive. I think last year he had 7 sacks. So it's just hard when you don't know about the level of competition that they played or type of defense. There's not that much tape. There's not that much information on these guys, the ones that especially transferred from the smaller schools. But I think like relative, I think he could probably put up similar numbers that he did at Richmond.
Dude, Richmond's a good program, man. They're usually an FCS championship contender every year. So that's a quality program he's coming from. So it's not like he's coming from just some random FCS school. They're like a quality FCS school they're one of those FCS schools that can upset FBS schools on occasion. So I think it's
Well,
a
yeah,
really
but that's my point. My point is who he's going against. You know, a lot of the other FCS schools that he's playing against, especially if they're like a power. I'm just curious if he'll be able to put up the same stats or be as effective. A little bit tougher competition, not much tougher.
I know somebody asked earlier in the chat about the player from Samoa, the offensive tackle. I don't want to butcher his name. So Saipale Fuimaono. I don't know if you guys know anything about him. 6'4", 305 pounds. And I think he's a transfer, right? But I'm not sure where from. He's
I think a JC, like Hancock College or something.
Oh, that's the one from Hancock. Okay,
yeah.
okay.
I literally don't know a thing about him besides everything we just talked about right now.
Yeah, same, man. I wasn't able to come up with anything on him. You know, obviously you look at the size and I guess we'll see. We'll find out when he gets on campus. Pretty much, we'll find out at spring practice. Or
I mean, you assume he's going to be an interior lineman. He's Samoan, so he might be tough.
Well, I know Hancock is in Santa Maria, California, if that's the same Hancock College. So that's California, but by way of Samoa. Yeah.
So he's a hometown kid.
He's a hometown kid. Yeah, that kind of answers Christian Martinez's question. Any hometown commits? Well, according to Coach Lewis, they're all hometown commits if they're from California. So
if you're from California, you're a hometown commit.
Yes. Who are we talking about, Eddie? Oh, who are we talking about? He says he reminds me a bit of Alec Pierce with the Colts, but a bit slower. Who exactly are we talking about? You talking about Fuiamano? Oh, not sure. Any other transfers?
Gabe Garrettson that transferred in. He's another Butte. He's a Butte College kid. He looks like he could be more of like a blocking or H-back, fullback type to me. I don't know if he's going to be comparable to the other tight ends that we've brought in with Harrison and Ban, but he was a transfer in as well. Gabe Garrettson.
All right.
Nate Bennett, the kid from Portland State. He put up a lot of numbers at Portland State. I don't know what happened this year. He wasn't that super productive this year. That just passed. But he's got a ton of stats. So Portland State's a solid FCS program. They're not like a power or anything. But he's got, measurables, 6'3", 200 pounds roughly. Decent speed. Not great speed, but decent speed. So, we'll see what happens. Add some more depth, fill out the I don't think we have a whole lot of upperclassmen on the roster in terms of receivers. So get some more leadership in there, I guess you could say, at a minimum.
And I think that pretty much does it for our list today, at least for today, guys, unless I'm missing somebody.
Hold on, let me make sure.
Yeah.
Oh, you mentioned Brian earlier. He's an interior offensive lineman, probably going to be a center.
Oh, yeah.
Most likely a center or possibly guard. It depends on what they do with Ross Masuli. He came. North Dakota's a good, strong program. They made the FCS playoffs last year, I want to say. And they're a solid team. They play in probably the best FCS conference. So he's experienced. He's played at a fairly high level. Because to me, the FCS playoffs are like good college football, man. That's like FBS football pretty much. So he's proven that he can do it, and it gets some more depth on that line. And that's the biggest thing we needed this year with all these guys transferring out, is we got to replace all that talent we lost.
I see Christian Martinez is asking for who all transferred away. I mean, that's a long list, guys. It's kind of a long.
Honestly, I don't even care. Like, I hate when people like keep bringing it up. Like, I'm trying to move on.
Yeah, man. I mean, you wish they could be here, but good for them. I wish them luck, but yeah, I'm not worried about it. I don't wish anything bad for them. I hope they do well where they went. But they decided to move on, and actually probably most of them got their degree already. They're already Aztecs for life. So God bless them, wish them the best. And now we're talking about our future team, so I'm not even worried about it.
Yeah, I mean,
still, like even right now, just from like my contacts on Twitter and stuff, we're still recruiting like right now, like this minute. We're looking at a transfer from Army, transfer linebacker. He's from Chula Vista, named Tano Letaluli, has 3 years left. He just is transferring. We just offered him right now, and he like a lot of coaches are involved in his recruitment. So this isn't over. There's going to be more, especially like on the offensive line, defense line, and linebackers, I think.
Everybody's asking, what's the latest, Dan, on Jordan Anderson that you've heard from your?
Okay, so when's that? From what I understand, he wanted to. He might have signed already, and he's asking the school that he signed to not to say anything because he wanted to announce it at the Polynesian Bowl. He mentioned announcing it Friday, perhaps. Like earlier today, I was 70% Jordan Anderson, and I'm probably like 85% now. I think he'll come to San Diego State. Just from reading all the tea leaves, you've watched this stuff long enough, and just the way they act on social media and things like that, the words they use in interviews, I'm like pretty confident.
I think all the guys we've talked to in the past, that's important to a lot of guys, right? They want to be the ones to make the announcement wherever he chooses to go. But I mean, guys want to be, they want to control their own narrative, have that moment so they can look back and especially if it's one that they're really excited about. It's like they want to have that moment that they let people know. And
especially wide receivers in general, right? They're brand builders.
Yeah.
Like we know how they all are, So
absolutely.
It's what you decide to recruit. I mean, that's what he's wants to build his brand. Nothing wrong with that, especially when you're a 4-star recruit, so yeah. Let him do it the way he wants to. And I think we should have a decision on Friday. And I can tell you right now that the Oregon State recruiting experts, they have no idea, so I think we're in a pretty good spot.
Yeah. All right. And you are right, Atalo. This is only the early signing. There is still the National Signing Day in February. But we thank you guys for joining us today for this early signing period. This is a great day for us, especially so close to Christmas. We're all excited. It's like the Christmas before Christmas. Getting to see all these names. Anything else you guys want to break down?
I think all the transfer guys, they have to be on the list before January 4th. So once we get past January 4th for San Diego State, that might be the last of our transfer submitting until we get to the spring period where they could transfer out again after like the spring game or whatever it is,
Okay. All right.
I'm just happy the spring game is not going to be during March Madness this year. I'm stoked about that. I'll actually get to go.
Dude, and I think I heard an interview with him. Maybe it was the KUSI one where he says, "Hey, come check us out the first practice of spring." Like, hopefully he makes stuff very accessible to the fans, unlike the prior regimen.
I think he was speaking about former players.
Oh, okay.
Come out. I don't know if he's going to be that accessible. Hopefully, I'm with you there. I hope he does. Especially like spring practice, letting us go watch that. But we'll find out, I guess. We'll see as we get closer. I think March 12th is the official start of spring practice.
Okay. All right. What day did it say the actual spring game was going to be? I think that was like the middle of March.
I think April 19th.
April 19th. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Good call on that being after March Madness because basketball is definitely going to go on another run this year.
Yeah, that's one thing I didn't like about the prior staff is they had spring so early, and it doesn't allow you to kind of build some momentum going into the summer to make it closer to the actual start of the season. I think is better, but there's pluses and minuses of doing it either way. But to me, it's better to do it closer to the start of the season.
Yeah. Well, do we have a count on all those that are coming in early? I know somebody was asking that question earlier. All the guys that are coming in early. Of course, Danny O'Neill's coming in early. I'm not sure who else though.
Buxton's coming in early. I'm trying to think of who else I know for sure is coming in early. There's actually like quite a few of them. There's like 3 or 4 that I remember, but I can't remember the names. I think maybe Cian Freeney might be coming in early as well. But I don't know for sure, so I don't want to name off a list. We'll see if we can figure that out and tweet about it or something.
Okay. Well, guys. It's a long list tonight. I appreciate both you, James and Dan. For breaking this stuff down, I think you guys gave a lot of good information, a lot of excitement for fans to go out there and buy some tickets. Go out there and buy some tickets off of. Get excited. Hopefully this offseason continues to build, like you said, into spring ball. And we'll be there. We'll be there at spring ball as much as possible for sure. Okay. Aztec basketball game tomorrow night against Stanford. And the Kiss the Rings crew will be we might have to talk a little trash after that game, but it's gonna be tough. Until next time, sonsofmontezuma.com. Make sure you are supporting our NIL shop and all of our merchandise. We're only going to continue to grow. And make sure you hit that like and subscribe button here in our home on YouTube. We really, really appreciate it. We've surpassed the 1,000 mark, and we want to get that 2,000 mark this season. Aztecs football is back. All right, let's make it happen. Guys, Dan, James, thank you for joining. Aztec Nation, we'll see you next time.
Go
Aztecs.
So much of what we need to do through this recruiting process is to educate, right, and to present who we are. So those things and the tools of social media, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, what have you, and then when we get the opportunity to get these families to our campus, again, to showcase the unique story that we have to tell, the unique offering that only we can give, we're going to utilize all the tools at our disposal to be able to do that.